Hello, astronomy enthusiasts from all around the world. I'm Luis Miguel Azorin, and I welcome you once again to the astronomical ephemerides of Astro Academy, this time for the month of July 2026. July is one of the best months of the year to enjoy the night sky. The warm nights in the northern hemisphere invite us to head out into the countryside. The Milky Way reaches a prime position for observation and photography, and in addition, this month brings us several very interesting planetary conjunctions, a meteor shower that begins to herald the arrival of the Perseids, and a curious event related to our planet's orbit. As always, let's review the phases of the Moon, the most notable planetary events, the other important astronomical phenomena, and we'll finish with some tips to make the most of it from the perspective of observation and astrophotography. We begin, as always, with the phases of our satellite. On July 7th, the Moon will reach its last quarter phase. As happens every month, this is one of the best phases to observe the lunar surface with a telescope. The side lighting caused by the Sun makes craters, mountains, and valleys cast long shadows, greatly enhancing the sense of relief. On July 14th, we will have a new moon. This will probably be the most anticipated date for deep sky astrophotography and night photography enthusiasts. During the nights close to this phase, we will enjoy completely dark skies, ideal for photographing the Milky Way, nebulae, galaxies, and any deep sky object. On June 21st, the first quarter moon will arrive. This phase is once again excellent for lunar observation, especially during the early hours of the night, when our satellite is high above the sunset horizon. And we will end the month with the full moon on July 29th, traditionally known as the buck moon. This name comes from the ancient Native American tribes and refers to the time of year when male deer begin to grow new antlers, which are still covered by a thin layer of velvet. As always, it's important to remember that these traditional names are not related to the physical appearance of the moon, but rather to natural events characteristic of each time of year. Now let's move on to the month's notable planetary events. The main planetary highlight of the month will be the conjunction between Mars and Uranus. During the early morning hours of July 3rd to 4th, both planets will appear separated by just over 1 degree in the sky. Although Uranus cannot be seen with the naked eye from most places, the presence of Mars will serve as an excellent reference point to locate it using binoculars or a small telescope. This is undoubtedly the most interesting planetary event of the month and also a wonderful opportunity to photograph both planets in the same frame. Another highlight will be Venus. Throughout the month, it will continue to shine with great intensity in the evening sky, becoming the brightest object in the firmament after the Moon and, of course, the Sun. Around July 10th, Venus will pass very close to the star Regulus, the main star of the constellation Leo, in the evening sky. Although both objects are at completely different distances, from our perspective, they will offer a very elegant scene, especially with binoculars or small telephoto lenses. On July 11th, we will be able to enjoy a beautiful conjunction between the Moon and the Pleiades in the early hours of the morning. In addition, a bit farther away, we will have the planet Mars, which complements this conjunction for an excellent night landscape photograph. And on July 17th, the main event will be the conjunction between the Moon and Venus, probably one of the most striking images of the month for the general public. Finally, on July 29th, Jupiter will reach solar conjunction. On that day, the planet will be positioned almost in the same direction as the Sun from our perspective, so it will temporarily disappear from the sky for several weeks before it slowly begins to reappear in the morning sky. Now let's move on to the rest of the notable astronomical events. On July 6th, the Earth will reach aphelion, the point in its orbit farthest from the Sun. On that day, we will be approximately 5 million kilometers farther from the Sun than during January's perihelion. This is a very interesting astronomical event because it shows that the seasons of the year do not depend on our distance from the Sun, but rather on the tilt of the Earth's axis. At the end of July, the activity of the Southern Delta Aquariids will begin to increase, a meteor shower that is active from mid-month, with its peak occurring during the last days of July and even extending into early August. This is not a meteor shower with a peak that occurs on a specific day. Rather, during these days, we will experience the maximum and be able to see a higher rate of meteors. Although it usually doesn't reach the intensity of the Perseids, it can offer between 15 and 25 meteors per hour under dark moonless skies. It's an excellent opportunity to warm up before the great meteor shower of the summer, the Perseids. In addition to all this, July continues to be one of the best months of the year to enjoy the Milky Way. During the nights close to the new moon, the galactic core reaches a very favorable position for much of the night, offering magnificent conditions for observation and photography. And as always, we finish with some photography tips to make the most of these events. As you've seen, if your goal is to photograph the sky this month, July offers some extraordinary opportunities. The conjunction between Mars and Uranus can be easily captured with a small telescope or a long telephoto lens. Although both objects will appear as tiny dots, it will be a good opportunity to try to capture in a single image a planet visible to the naked eye, like Mars, and another much farther away and invisible to the naked eye. The encounter between Venus and Regulus is perfect for astronomical landscape photography. A moderate telephoto lens will allow you to capture both objects in the same frame, highlighting the intense brightness of Venus against the bluish hue of Regulus. The nights around the new moon on July 14th will continue to be ideal for photographing the Milky Way. At this time of year, the galactic core remains visible for many hours, allowing you to calmly plan your compositions and take advantage of different orientations of the galactic arc. In addition, around this day, the best conditions for deep sky astrophotography will occur. And if you decide to try photographing the Delta Aquariids, use a very bright wide-angle lens, a stable tripod, and shoot continuous sequences for several hours. Although the meteor rate is not very high, the absence of the moon for much of the night will greatly favor their observation. And that's it for the astronomical events of July 2026, a month that brings us a magnificent conjunction between Mars and Uranus, brilliant Venus dominating the evening sky, the start of the Delta Aquariids activity, and excellent conditions to enjoy the Milky Way throughout the night. As always, I hope this summary helps you plan your upcoming observations and astrophotography sessions. See you again in the next Astro Academy video.